Hello, Professor Toybox here, along with Aladdin and the Genie, and we're back in my Agrabah Palace Dungeon toy box, which is based on alpha footage of the Disney Infinity 4.0 Kingdoms project. Yesterday, I showed you how to build the falling boulder trap at the entrance, and even though it works and it doesn't look too bad, I wasn't satisfied with how the guard's movement was so restricted, so I built a fire trap instead. Today, I'll show you how to build that fire trap. My idea for this trap was based on this scene from the 4.0 alpha footage, in which we see some flames shooting out from the wall in the background. And as I thought about how I might build that kind of trap in the 3.0 toy box, I remembered the rocket engine toy from the Marvel Battlegrounds playset. The flame effect doesn't look quite the same, but it works pretty well, and it does what I want it to do. So as we get started, I'm going to remove the toys for the falling boulder trap that I built yesterday that we don't need. So we'll keep the buttons and the replayer and the townsperson door, as well as the level starter and the gate and the enemy wave generator. But we don't need anything else, so the rest can go. So we can delete this trigger area and the path, and I'll leave those two locators there. We'll take the falling object generator out, as well as the locator that it was connected to, and all of these toys out here, so we don't need any of those. This fire trap is much simpler than what we built yesterday, and we'll need a few extra toys, so I'm going to add the Lunar Outpost rocket engine from the Marvel Battlegrounds playset. And I'm going to put 3 of them in here, in this little cubby hole, just like that. And then we're also going to need a sound generator, and I'll drop that out here. Okay, so before we begin, I want to remind you that this first trap has to be foolproof. It must work every time, because it's the only way the player gets through the gate and advances into the dungeon. And so we need to ensure that the trap will always kill the guards so we can get the key. And so right now the gate that we placed down yesterday leaves this little bit of opening here, and if a guard is standing there, the flames will miss him. So I'm going to back this gate up, and we're going to put it right back here on the back edge of that block. And then I want to drop a second gate over here underneath this block, just like that. And those 2 gates will keep the guards confined in this area. And I'm going to move these locators. This one's already connected to the enemy wave generator from yesterday. And we'll space these out just a little bit initially. So we'll put another one here, and I'm going to connect that to the enemy wave generator, because I'm going to put 2 guards in here. So we'll do a new locator connection. We'll connect up that locator, and then we'll tweak the enemy wave generator, and I want to add a second guard, so I'll come over here and adjust the count to 2. And then the properties, everything under here can stay the same as it was yesterday. So the generation delay is 0, and everything else I think is the same as it was when we first put it down. Alright, and that's still connected to the level starter, and the level starter is still connected to this button, so we can use that to generate the guards. Now this gate here, since we have 2 gates, I want to use the same key to open both gates. So on this one, we're going to change this, because yesterday we turned this property on to remove the key, so I'm going to turn that off. So the player will keep the key after they open that gate, and then we'll go ahead and change the properties on this gate to remove the key. And so we don't have to drop 2 keys. 1 key will get both of these gates open. And I want to make sure I remove the key after they come through this gate, because I don't want them carrying the key in here and opening this lock cage. They're going to have to go get another key for that. Okay. And then the last thing I want to do, let's go ahead and hook up the reset button to those locked gates, so we can test this multiple times if we need to. So we'll reset that gate, new logic connection when pressed, and we'll reset the other gate. Okay, so now the gates are set up, the enemy wave generator is set up, and the replayer is still set up from yesterday. When this plays, it'll put the key out here. And we still have this townsperson door configured from yesterday. And just to review the properties, I'm not removing the genie when I throw him in here. And right now I have the door disabled property turned off. Eventually I will turn this on, because I only want the player to use this once, but I may have to test this multiple times. Detection level set at 1, normal response chance is 10, excuse me, and the explosive response chance is 0. So to connect up the fire trap, this is really easy. All we have to do is a new logic connection on this door. When the normal response is returned, we'll come over to the first of the rocket engines, and we'll fire the rocket engine. And then we'll do that exact same thing for the other two rocket engines. So when the genie is thrown into this townsperson door and he comes back out, the rocket engines will ignite and destroy the two enemies that are in this area. Okay, and then the other thing I want to do is the new logic connection. When the normal response is returned from that door, we'll come over to the replayer and we'll do a playback. And that will put the key out here for the player. And we can do that right after we have the townsperson, the genie, come out of that door, because the rocket engines will ignite immediately and kill the enemies, so we don't have to wait for anything else to happen. And then the last thing we need, because these rocket engines, it's kind of interesting, there's no sound for those. They'll ignite and they're soundless, which is kind of weird. But that's why I put the sound generator out here. And so we're going to use this several times throughout this toy box. So I want to come down to the properties and turn off the 3D sound at speaker or locator. And so the player will hear this no matter where they are in the toy box. And that way we can reuse that toy. And so on the townsperson door, new logic connection, on the normal response returned, we'll come over to the sound effect generator, and under the general category, we're going to scroll down, and it's down a little ways. There's the rocket blast-off sound. And I think this sound is actually from the Marvel Battlegrounds playset. It's timed, so its length perfectly matches the flame effect from the rocket engine. So why the rocket engine doesn't play that sound automatically, I don't know. But at any rate, that'll play the sound. Okay, so at this point, I think we're ready to test this out. Let me just double check my notes here. Yep, everything has changed, so let's give it a try. Oops, and I want to come out back over here, because if I come out there, it'll put me up in Jafar's tower, which is above us. So, here's Aladdin, and here comes the genie. And we'll go ahead and push the button to put the guards in. So there's our guards, and they're walking around inside that little caged room. So now we can pick up the genie and toss him in. And there's the guards, they've been fried, and there's our key. And we can pick up the key and open the first door, and we still have the key. And grab my sparks, and then use the key to open the second gate. And there we go. The fire trap's a pretty simple trap. The locking gates, again, keep the guards confined to this area and guarantee that they'll be killed when the rocket engines go off. And when the guards are killed, the player gets the key to the gate, just like it did with the falling boulder version that we did yesterday. Now, what if you want to build a simpler fire trap that doesn't have to have 100% success and can work with any guard that happens to wander by and doesn't need to award a key to the player? Well, I just happen to have set up another fire trap elsewhere in the dungeon, and so you can see just how simple this trap is. That one had to be a little more complicated because it had to have 100% success at the beginning to make sure the player gets the key. But over here, all we need is a button and the rocket engine and that sound generator. And we only need to make 2 logic connections, so this is ridiculously easy. So the first logic connection would be on the button. So new logic connection when pressed. Come over to the rocket engine and fire the rocket engine. And you've probably guessed what the second logic connection is. New logic connection when pressed. We need to go play the sound effect. So we'll come over here to the sound generator. And again, under the general category, we scroll down and look for the rocket blast-off sound. So there we go. And that's it. Building the fire trap is really, really easy. So then all you got to do is just come over here. And when the guard walks by, you just time the button press. So when he walks past there, you push the button, and there goes the fire trap. So that's it for the fire trap. Next time, I'll show you how to build the spike traps in the main chamber. Before I go, I want to thank you for watching my video today, and I hope you're enjoying this series so far, or you're at least getting some new ideas for things to try in your own toy boxes. If so, please give this video a like and leave me a comment to let me know. I appreciate all of your comments, and I read each and every one, even if I don't respond to them all. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel or follow me on my blog if you haven't already done so. And if you want to build a fire trap like this in your own toy box, I put together some logic diagrams and posted them on my blog to help you out. Until next time, take care.